about. Trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist. Am I worth anything or just discount? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Spending time all alone, sending my songs to the phone, dreaming of a better home while focused on trying to hone this craft, witchcraft. I hope the brujas let this last. I don't know.
That was Watson with Outside on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige, with my partner in crime, Long Island Rays, Elm City made EZ Bluez is in the building. Easy, you are better with introductions more than me. Who do we have with us today on Behind the Brand?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is absolutely a phenomenal moment. For those who don't know, you obviously have no idea. This man goes back with the New Haven scene so far as the iconic local band Gargantuan Soul. This man epitomizes cool. He is so cool that every January there is a birthday party that he throws at Toad's place with whatever bands he wants to have on there because he's just that damn good. I want you to put your hands together, not if you're driving. If you are currently driving while listening to the radio, keep your head at 10 and 2 because no accidents. But mentally, put your hands together for the man, the myth, an amazing drummer and human being, and he just dropped his phone, Opus.
What
happened? You're muted again, brother.
Sure. Yo.
Yeah, you're perfect.
What's up? What's up? Sorry about that, guys. Having some technical issues.
It's all good.
The man, the myth, the legend can't figure out his phone.
That's the best way to go about things. How you been, brother? It's great to have you on the show. I have actually been lucky enough to meet you in person.
Yes, sir.
And one of the coolest things about it, here I am at the time, I'm just an acoustic player. I'm doing a side show, for your birthday show. And beforehand, because I like to be efficient, I'm one of the first people there. I'm there way too early. But there you are, man, just chilling, making sure everything's running on point. And you're actually talking with every single one of the artists that were there. And you're talking to them like you're their best friend. And that doesn't happen in this industry. So I just wanted to personally take this moment and thank you for that, because that means a lot to the artists that are coming up, man. We appreciate it.
I try to treat people like how I would like to be treated. And that just goes for anything, not just music or rock and roll. That goes for life in general. I in this business, as I've been, doing this since I think I booked my first show at age 13. And I literally never stopped. Only one time I had to stop a few years ago when I had some health issues that I actually cleared up and figured out what they were. And it was the first time in my entire career in decades where I had to actually cancel a tour, I never even missed one show, never mind a tour. But since then, that all got straightened out and figured out, and I'm healthier than ever. But but at the same time, a lot of times as I was going up the ranks in the music business, I wasn't treated all that great. And still to this day, I still get, a lot of these people that are in control or have the power or the juice, or as you say, or the people that are kind of a lot of the guys that run a lot of the bigger stuff. It's not, I don't know if it's intentional or maybe they're just so damn busy or they're just got a lot in their brain or they're just not cool. But a lot of times I wasn't treated with respect, and I wasn't treated the way I would want to be treated. So I try to keep that in mind. Yes, I've had my bad moments. Like, I'm human, like everybody else. And if I'm frustrated or something else is going on where my mind's not there, I always try to be polite, but at the same time, I'm not always like I was that day, probably. But at the same time, 90% of the time, I'm always there. I'm in it. I'm with everybody, and I feel like, I'm just without everybody else, part of the team, there is no, they say no, there is no me. So I have to, I'm kind of just like the moderator, the mediator. I'm not like it's not about, it's my name's on it, but like I said, for those shows, I tried changing it because it's Opus's B-Day Bash, Blizzard Bash, and I'm like, when I'm like friggin' 60 years old, I'm gonna be going, oh, a birthday bash. No, I want to change the name, But the Toads was like, hell no. It's actually become bigger than you. It's more than just about you now. It's about the whole show. So we got to keep it the same. And so I always say that now to this day that it's not about me. It's about the whole scene in general. And I'm just like the kind of like the bridge,
Well, and that's something that's incredible. And just to kind of almost call you out a little bit on that as well, in a positive way, it's not just your style of music that you're that bridge with, because you are that bridge with so much more stuff in there. You are that bridge. I remember when Steve Rogers had his show at the State House, I look over my shoulder and in the back corner, you walk into the spot. Now, your style of music and Steve Rogers' style of music doesn't necessarily fall in the same category, but you support the human being. And that is so huge. I mean, Hunter S. Thompson has said it the best. The music industry is full of liars, pimps, prostitutes, and sons of guns, because we're on, terrestrial radio. But there's a downside too.
And thieves,
Yeah, and thieves, yes.
Yeah, but but Steve is one of the good guys, and I always credit Steve to this day. Steve, when I was first starting out with Gargantua Soul, Mighty Purple was already established and they were already touring, and they were already doing stuff because they've been around since the Blind Justice days, early New Haven band that my old singer from Gargantua Soul, Chris Keys, was in before Gargantua Soul. And I needed some help with like some contacts out of state to get some shows going for Gargantua Soul. And a lot of the people that I dealt with, Pete McNeil being one of them, the old drummer of Blind Justice, who's now in jail, he looked at it as a competitive thing. And most of the people, even back then, not necessarily now so much, because we all have to work together to do anything nowadays. But then there's still some people like that. But back then, especially, everyone was more so looking at it as a competition instead of uniting and making it more of a scene. And so when I started out with G Soul, I was kind of like, well, Blind Justice did a lot of shows and it's the same singer. Maybe, he'll help me out and get some ideas, get some contacts, yada, yada, yada. And instead I was met with a lot of, BS, yeah. And no content. But Steve, on the other hand, Rogers, he went out of his way to, and I give him credit to this day, to give me a bunch of different contacts, which ended up being very fruitful for the band. One being a place in New Hampshire that we played on a regular basis, which became our second home up in New Hampshire. And so a lot of, Steve really came through for me and gave me a lot of contacts and a lot of information that I used to help Gargantua Soul become successful. So I give him a lot of props, and still to this day, and I actually like some Mighty Purple stuff and some of his stuff. So I'm a fan of all music. I mean, I like, my main genre is heavy metal, obviously, but I'm a fan of all music. I like everything from the Grateful Dead to Slayer and everything in between. Hip hop, old school hip hop, acoustic stuff, Cat Stevens, Public Enemy, you name it. So, my taste, I think a good musician needs to be well-rounded, and my taste is very open to different styles and different, things. So Steve is just one of the guys who I really hold up high in the industry, especially in the Connecticut and New England area. And, obviously I supported his old venue, which I still do to this day, because my other friends have since taken it over, but the space and yada yada yada. So yeah, he's someone that's why I'm there, and I will always be like that with Steve, and I know he feels the same. He feels the same, I'm sure.
Oh no, definitely, and that's one of the things that as for doing this show in particular, we've had a lot of musicians and a lot of people from Seth Adam to, we had OT on a couple weeks ago, and it seems to be this constant thread And that's really, like I tell people all the time when they're listening to the show, this is the point in time where you take that pen and that piece of paper and you actually take notes. And the note that I really want people to understand is it is those connections, it is that interpersonal connection that helps to move forward. And especially in an industry that is art-based, where everything is subjective, you need those connections to thrive. And it's not about isolating yourself into a pigeonhole. It's about opening yourself up as much as possible to absorb from everywhere, because you can learn as much from a Cat Stevens record as you can from a Slayer record.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So
yeah,
definitely.
I agree 100%. Yeah. Sorry, my dog just pissed on the ground in my house, so I'm like trying to like nonchalantly clean it up as I'm talking to you.
It happens. I mean, it
Yeah.
is live radio, but it is also live radio, terrestrial radio. So
my boy's old Boston Terrier. He's 13 years old, and he's having some issues. So I'm trying to. I don't get mad at him anymore. I just kind of clean it up with a smile.
Hey, you want to know something? Where else other than behind the brand can you watch one of the coolest people in New Haven cleaning up
dog piss? No, yeah,
yes.
Same thing.
Yes.
I know. I'm supposed to be, conscious of word conscious. So.
Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
But no, and one of the things that also is incredible with your story is you started out as a local musician, and you have now branched out where you are a brand unto yourself. One of the things that happened during the quarantine is you started to release these incredible acoustic covers.
Thanks, man.
And with these amazing videos, and honestly, like from someone who had a tough time dealing with not being able to play during the quarantine aspects, it was a moment that really helped me move through. And I really wanted to take this time to thank you for that.
Thanks, man.
I don't want to do it through like the Messenger. You and I talk through Messenger on a regular basis, but to me that seems, I wanted to do it kind of in person, and this is an ad person as we're going to get for right now.
I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it, Dustin. And I'll tell you this much. I give credit to my girl for that, because when it all first started, I actually was pretty depressed, and I was pretty bummed out, to be honest with you. And I didn't know what to do, and I wasn't sure what the next steps were going to be. And I just got the gig with the bass player from Megadeth, and we were touring a lot. And I had Japan booked for the first time ever. Wow. I had all of Europe booked. I had all of the US booked. And I was going on tour with Twisted. I was going on tour with the guys in Megadeth. And I was going on the road with my Sabbath tribute, and all of it got canceled. Biggest year of my career since early Gargantua Soul days, canceled. And I didn't know what to do. And I was like, okay, well, this sucks. What do I do now? And I was just kind of like, in a slump. And my girl's like, listen, get off your butt and start doing maybe some acoustic songs, or, you could be creative and write music, do whatever you got to do to get out of your slump here. And so I listened to her, and I kind of was like messing around in my studio. And next thing I know, I'm figuring out recording programs, which I learned on my own, and I never had the time. I'm not very technical. I'm not a very technical guy. One, because I'm old school, so I always had someone recording me, and also I just never really had the time. I'm always touring and stuff, and so I never really sat down with any program to actually figure it out. I'm an older dude, and I'm just never never really sat down with any technical program. So when I did, and I started messing around with it, I'm like, wow, I could actually record an entire acoustic album for myself, by myself, without any people, without paying for it. So it's pure profit, because I'm just sitting there by myself. And so it was funny. What happened is it went from doing nothing to literally every week recording a brand new cover and doing my own version of it, and sometimes taking songs that weren't acoustic and making them acoustic, and then putting them out, with like, and I learned iMovie. I learned how to use a video program, and and I can, a lot of times those techniques, those programs are very basic, but I got so good at it that, like, there was times where I would send a track from GarageBand to my cousin Chesky Ramos, who's a well-known rapper and an international performer, and he'd be like, "Damn, cuz, like, how the hell did you record this?" And I'd be like, by myself with my cell phone in GarageBand. And he's like, "What?" And so he was like, I got to the point where I was so creative with it that I was able to get sounds and tones out of like simple programs that usually don't sound that great. So, and it's funny you mentioned that, because I just want
to say you do sound great on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven, behind the brand, myself, Prestige, and my partner in crime, Long Island Rays, Elm City made, EZ Bluez is in the building. I hate to gotta do the protocol. Go right ahead with your answer.
All right, thanks, man. So and I appreciate you guys having me. So I just got an inspiration actually over the weekend to do. I haven't done an acoustic cover in a while, and I just recently got a hair up my butt to do another one, and this one's super cool. I'm not gonna say what it is because it's done. It's getting mastered as we speak, and I'm going to figure out some cool video, and I'm going to definitely release it probably within the next couple of weeks. It's really, really dope, and it's a song that's not acoustic from a band from a band that's not a rock or metal band. It's a very unique style band, and I took it it's an odd track. It's a very it's like a C or a B side of like this band's album, and I took the song and I made it acoustic, and I made it kind of like my own vibe, and I really, really dig it, and it came out great, and I'm super psyched, and I'm going to release that probably within the next week or two, and that's something that I just did. And it's funny because I'm going to add it to the Corona cover album because it's a cover, and we're going to actually officially release that. So that's something else I want to talk to you guys about too, is that one thing that happened over the pandemic is I ended up, my company, Mindsnap Music, which is more of just a promotional company, ended up getting full international distribution through Sony Orchard, which is a really big deal. And they actually do manufacture on demand, which is and the company is called Von Artist. They're a great company. And the A&R guy from Von Artist was a Gargantua Soul fan. So, and he actually has been following me for a while. And he's like, "Listen, man, I can't, Von Artist or Sony Orchard can't dump the kind of money that that they dump into like something like, Justin Timberlake or something. But I'll give you all the same through lines that these artists, that these major artists have. You'll just have to promote it and market it yourself." So it's going to be anywhere that you can possibly stream or download music. You're going to be able to get everything of mine from the early days till now. And I'm going to slowly put my whole back catalog from like when I was a kid all the way till now. Slowly, we're starting off with the first two. I just got the rights back to the last self-titled Dead by Wednesday album that was on Combat. And I also got the rights back to the guest vocalist album, Darkest of Angels, which is also on EMP, Combat, Ellison's label. I got the rights back for those two albums. So those are the first two that are going up. But they're very adamant about releasing the cover album for me.
Really?
So
awesome.
we have to go through all like the copyrights and all that kind of stuff first. But once that happens, that album's going to be available. That cover album's going to be available everywhere. So we're going to add this song to it.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And for the average listener at home that has no idea what you're saying as per the copyrights for covers and different things like that, to understand the business, once a song is written, once a song is written, the songwriter and the label and those who own the publishing rights for that song own that song. So when you want to release a cover of a song, very similar to what happens in hip hop with samples, you have to go through that artist, go through that label, and you have to get the rights for it. They have to say it's okay for you to release this for and that's just covering your bases.
Or you could pay a service to allow you to get a certain amount of streams or downloads. Right. And that's also something that we're looking into, all that options right now, because it's unless you can get the actual artist to agree to it, then then it's like you have to basically go through like a Harry Fox agency or some sort of like publishing agency or whatever. But it's a lot of red tape, and that's where the covers thing is very. And the thing is, I'm not going to really make money off of it. Right. It's more of a promotional thing. The artists that I'm covering will make the money, but it looks good, and if you never know. I mean, if something blows up, then it's cool,
Yeah. Well, and there's been so many artists that have gone further because of covers. A lot of people don't really understand that Hey Joe and All Along the Watchtower are cover songs. They think that Hendrix wrote them.
And almost every song off the first couple of Van Halen albums that got big were covers. I mean, people don't realize that either,
Yep. So, and it, go through even a little bit more recently, Johnny Cash's Hurt. Was the cover of Nine Inch Nails, and that took things to another level. It happens all the time. Zeppelin is a huge one, just pretty much covered all of Muddy Waters and released it, but also worked out well for when the lawyers got their hands on things, and it all worked out towards the end.
You put your own twist on it and make it your own. And that's kind of what, I don't just try to cover an album or cover a song. I try to make it my own and give it the respect it deserves as the song, from the beginning, as it was written and as it was recorded. So it's a fine line between respecting the original and giving it your own twist.
Right. No, it's definitely something that's a lot of fun to do, but it can. I mean, because look, at the end of the day, you're dealing with a piece of art that somebody grew up completely loving, and just changing it a little bit. Look at everything that happened with the Star Wars trilogies, right? It didn't go the way that a certain fan thought it was, so everyone hated it or everyone super loved it. Art, again, is subjective, and you're dealing with feelings and emotions.
Exactly.
So people are.
I agree 100%, and that's kind of where, especially with this song that I'm talking about, that I'm going to be releasing soon, that I'm keeping a secret. It was super fun to try to recreate it. Like recreating this one was super. It was like that alone was a huge, I don't want to say undertaking, but like it was super fun to try to like mimic and understand where this artist was coming from, because they're not easy to do, put it that way. And I'll just give you I'll just tell you who it was. It's the Police.
What?
Yeah, the Police.
That's
and I won't say what song or what it is, but it's a really cool song from the Police, and it's very hard to recreate, and the fact that it was just that alone was super fun and definitely a challenge,
And it's really interesting that's where you went, because Sting for instance is he's very big into the control aspects, so much so that I remember when UHF came out, the movie, and Weird Al wound up doing the Dire Straits remake or parody, and Sting actually called him because Sting sang the hook on that. It's like, if you're going to do the parody, I need to come in and sing the hook. Yes, sure, please do. We appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting that phone call.
I love that band, and I love the drummer is one of my favorite drummers of all time. Stuart Copeland is just like he's just a out of the box animal kind of drummer. Like he just doesn't know. I mean, he doesn't go by the same set of rules as everybody else. He does his own thing, you know. And I learned a lot from
completely.
him.
And oh, definitely. I actually remember because I'm a huge TV junkie, and it was one of those Storage Wars, and a dude found a drum set, but he was friends with Stuart Copeland, so he went over there to have Stuart Copeland tune the drum set and make sure it was okay. And he's like, "Well, you're only going to get maybe like $100 for this drum set, but hold on, let me put my name on it." So now it should be a couple thousand. You'll be okay. And it was just amazing to watch, you know.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, let me just call up Stuart Copeland and have him come over and tune my drum set.
Word. You know.
Yeah. Oh,
well,
boy.
So I actually wanted to kind of get into that transition of you being, you know, an independent artist, and now, you know, someone who loves music and loves metal, and now you're actually working with acts that you grew up loving. What is it like to take that step?
It's very strange. It's like, so, you know, I grew up, it's funny. I always grew up, and there was, when I was a kid in high school, there was a very split down the middle. Like either you liked Metallica or you liked Megadeth. Mm-hmm. There was no, like, very few people liked both. It was like, you had to pick a side. And it was, ironically, I was always a Metallica guy. Matter of fact, I did a Metallica tribute band called Alcoholica for years that was very successful. And then through just the music business, odd dealings with different friends and different people in the industry, and I ended up becoming friends with the bass player of Megadeth. And next thing I know, I'm on his record label. Next thing I know, I'm playing drums for his solo project. And then I'm recording with him. Then I'm traveling the world with him. And then I realized it was funny because I had like an epiphany one day. I'm learning old Megadeth tunes to play these shows with him. And he plays some of the songs that they don't play live. And I'm like, wow, these musicians are way better than Metallica. I'm like, this is so much harder than I thought, you know, like, and yes, the vocals necessarily aren't as catchy, or the songwriting isn't as commercial. And, you know, like obviously Mustaine's voice is like a little bit annoying compared to Hetfield's. But the drummer and the rhythm section and the guitar playing and some of the songwriting and the skills and the way they put songs together, it's so much more technical and has a jazzy influence. Like Chris Poland was an amazing. I'm actually working with Chris right now. We're writing some songs for a new album, for a new metal album that he's doing, and we have 3 done right now, which is such an honor to be writing and recording with, you know, a legendary guitar player. This might very well be his last metal album ever. Who knows, you know? And just hearing what he does, it's not traditional. It's very out of the box, like style. And what they did and what they do, I mean, they're still part of the big 4. So it's like Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, and Anthrax. And so Megadeth is one of the big 4. And like, so when I'm listening to these songs and I'm like trying to learn those drum parts, first of all, a lot of the stuff, the recording quality wasn't as good back then. So I'm like trying to weed through, like, what is he doing right there? So I'm like YouTubing different players and trying to figure it out. And then a lot of stuff I do by ear. But what I find fascinating is that, you know, I'm learning from Metallica and I'm playing these beats and everything, and I'm like, you know, and I could do it no problem. And then I go to play Megadeth, and I'm like, wow, this is odd time signature. This is not normal. This is very different. So they were a lot more technical, and they were more of a musicians band. Metallica was amazing. They had great production. They, you know, I'll give them credit. They had, they were tight. They were heavy. They were awesome. I love them still. But I got it after starting to play with this guy and learning about them and, figuring out these songs, I have a whole newfound respect for Megadeth that I never really had prior to playing and learning, Megadeth tunes. And it's funny is that playing with him is like playing with my buddy next door. He's around. He's older than me, but he's in the same era of music, and we just click. Like his style. He's on the West Coast, and I'm on the East Coast. But because of that style, that old school thrash metal kind of style, we just gelled. And he loved my playing. I loved his bass playing, and we just clicked. It was like I'm blessed to have bass players because to me the rhythm section is everything. Like I love guitar players and singers. They're the icing on the cake, obviously. They're the melodies. But without a solid foundation, like me and Mike Modest of Dead by Wednesday, the bass player, he's the only original member of Dead by Wednesday. He's been with me since the beginning. He's a monster. Like without a good bass player, it's like the glue that holds the band together. And so the foundation, the rhythm section, is very important. And I have lucky enough to have that with all the projects that I play with. My Sabbath tribute, my bass player, I've been playing since I was a little kid. We've been doing things on and off since I was 12 years old, like a cover band. So him and I click, we have a connection. Mike Modest and I, we have a connection. We've been playing since the beginning of this inception of the band together. Ellison, the bass player of Megadeth, we have a similar style, very similar groove. We like the same style of music. So we have a great connection. So luckily, the rhythm sections and foundations of all my projects are very solid and very bass and drum based heavy kind of stuff.
No, it's so true because I also feel the same way. When you have your rhythm section, you can build anything off of a phenomenal rhythm section. Look at, some of the old Hit Factory Motown stuff or the stuff that came out of Stax Records.
Bootsy Collins. Bootsy. Yeah.
Exactly. You have these phenomenal, bass. Look at Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, man,
when you have that solid rhythm section, you as an artist then can go as crazy or as simple as you want. You have that freedom. I'm also blessed to have a great rhythm section and the musicianship that I work with. I get to have as much fun as possible, and I can push the boundaries of what music is even further because I know that they've created this amazing pocket for me to just create mayhem.
Yes.
And it's so wonderful to have. So I fully believe everything you're saying about having that strong rhythm section.
And I didn't realize it until because I always played the guitar growing up, and then once I actually played with a good bass player, I was like, wow, this is a whole nother ball game. You know what I mean?
No, definitely.
The low end.
It's true, and I love that you're so honest with your evolution as a musician. Because when we all start to get into it, well, of course, the first things we're going to look at are the vocals and the guitar because that's the flashy thing that's in your face.
Yeah,
but as you peel the layers,
the face of the band, is always is what people see. It's like the front man, But realistically, it's like the foundation is like the basis of it all,
No, like honestly, I'm a huge Blues Brothers fan, and I know without Duck Dunn, none of that exists. And it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible to hear and know. So now going to an extra transition aspect. One, I want to ask because I need to know now: are we going to get some like Opus acoustic shows coming?
I haven't really thought about it. I sort of lost my vibe with that because I loved doing it in the beginning, and then I started getting calls from bars and stuff, and I would go play, and I was treated like in the beginning it was more of a featured spot. Like I would open up for Candlebox, or I opened up for the guy Zach Myers from Shinedown, and it was more of a featured show. it started becoming where I was like a human jukebox, and people were just yelling out like Freebird, and they wanted to hear. And then when you start getting ignored and you're thrown in the corner of a bar, and people are talking over you, and they're not really paying attention, and you're just like the atmospheric background music, it's not my thing, man. I'm not into it. So that's why. That's one of the reasons why I play drums. When I play drums, there is no atmospheric talking or background music. You're paying attention or you're leaving because you're annoyed by how loud excuse my language, how loud it is,
No, well, that's so true. Coming from an acoustic aspect and now being fronting a band, I had gotten to that point of pure frustration of I'm literally just the soundtrack for people drinking right now. This makes no sense. And now that I'm out front, you're going to pay attention.
Yes.
And if you don't pay attention, I'm coming into the crowd and I'm going to make you pay attention.
Exactly.
I'm paying attention on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige, and my partner in crime, Long Island Rays, Elm City Made, Easy Bluez is in the building. We got Dead by Wednesday. He's our guest today on Behind the Brand. Continue, guys.
What up?
Go right ahead.
Thanks for having me, man.
No, we thank you for doing this. I really, really appreciate it. When we first got this show, I was like, okay, I have my checklist of like when we're ready with a good product, these are the people we need to make sure that we're hitting. We were lucky enough to have your cousin on. Absolutely phenomenal interview.
Chesky?
Oh yeah, he's amazing. I'm actually blessed. We're going to be playing the night before at the Cellar, and then him and Fat Astronaut are playing at the Spaceland Ballroom the following night. So I'm really looking forward to doing stuff like that. But
I'll probably come out. I'll try to come out to one of those shows for sure. Around.
Dude, we'd love to see you. But the main thing, you're not just a musical artist. Now you've actually do art on cymbals.
Well,
it's been amazing.
I thank you, man. I do art. Well, this is another thing too, is that like, I graduated art school, fine arts. I have a degree in fine arts. I never use it. I mean, I guess I do in roundabout ways, like with a lot of times with the covers for the albums or like, just ideas that I like to, logos, stuff like that. But I was forced for years to do like in school to be like, okay, so now you have to do a painting, an expressionist painting, use these colors, and it has to be done tomorrow. So I would be forced to paint a full painting in a certain style in like one night. And I just got to the point where I was so sick of it, and I was annoyed by it. And I was more into music, and I knew that that's what direction I wanted to do. That I graduated, and I just put the brushes down, and I never cared to even look at it again. I just like, I'm never going to use this. Back then, when I went to graduated, there was no graphic artist. I mean, there was graphic arts, but it wasn't part of fine arts degree. It was more fine arts was like sculpture, oil painting, sketching, things like that. So I graduated with that. I did some work at some art schools, Lime Academy, the one in. Also the one in Hamden there. What's the name of it? Pierce Art School. And I did some work there. And then I just was like, I kind of faded out. I was like, yeah, it's not my thing. Then years later, meaning like now, I don't know what it was. I think it was because, again, the pandemic, I was looking for outlets. I wanted to make some money. I wanted to see. Now, the thing is, like, artists, it's a very hard road for fine artists to make it. It's like almost harder than musicians because you have to build a fan base. People have to care about your music. I mean, care about your art for them to want it, which is very difficult. So I am lucky in a sense and blessed that I already had somewhat of a fan base from music. So I was able to cross over. And so I was like, let me give it a shot. Again, I was like, I just was bored. I pulled out my paintbrushes, my oils, and I was amazed how fast it came back to me. Like, I've always had a talent. I just never really used it. And then within a couple paintings, it was like it was like riding a bike. It was like, oh, boom, and I started like doing these weird things, and then I was like, you know what? You know, what'd be really cool is if I actually incorporate my actual music in it, like with broken cymbal. I take a cymbal that I paid a certain amount of money for. It breaks. It means nothing to me. My fans would want it without any art on it. Never mind with art. I paint it, and now all of a sudden that cymbal is worth something. So I took nothing and make something out of nothing, and I was able to sell. I'm on to my, I think I call it the Opus number 1, Opus number 2. I'm on Opus number 15, I think now, and I've sold almost every single one of them, and only like 1 or 2 I gave as a gift to, like, you know, my mom for Mother's Day or for her birthday and stuff like that. But it's been going great, and it's on my own time, on my own, you know, free will. I don't really have to do it. I don't care. I have been getting requests, so I have been commissioning stuff here and there. If anyone wants an original oil painting, I can do it on a drum head, on a cymbal, a canvas. I don't, you know, it's all good. But yeah, I do different things. Always oil based because it's easy. It's an easy media to work with.
Right.
But I do different types of artwork and different ideas. Whatever anyone really likes, I kind of try to do. I like abstract art. I like expressionists. I like darker stuff. I like stuff, you know, like Edward Munch, I think his name is one of my favorite artists. I like his style. It's very dark. And that's kind of like what I try to do. And I like abstract stuff. And I'm not very much into like what's the word? You know, not surreal. When it's like very, like you look at an apple and you paint an apple. Well, I forgot the name of it.
Realism.
Realism. Yeah, real. I'm not much of a realist painter. I could do it, but I'm not really into that. I like weird stuff, you know.
Well, see, and this is the other thing that I really want our listeners to pay attention to. All those up and coming business owners, all those up and coming entrepreneurs, all those people that are at the point of building a brand. Everything you have said on this interview, you have turned towards who you are, and who you are has become the brand. You're not pretending. This is who you are. This is what you do. It organically shows up. And because you're true to yourself, quoting from Shakespeare, to thy own self be true, that is where your success comes from, because it is that inner piece. And I know that is something that, you know, you have your running for. You do these things to get to that point. And I think it's a beautiful story. And I really, if no one takes anything else away from this interview, they need to understand how important it is to be yourself.
Oh, yeah.
To really get that moment. And when you're in, you know, in that pocket of who you are, the potential.
Well, I'll be honest with you. It wasn't always like that. You know, in the early days of G Soul, it took a while to actually kind of like go through the business, go up and down the ladder, you know, have ups and then have some wild downs, and then not know what to do with yourself, and kind of establish yourself and rework yourself and figure out. You have to kind of like, you have to take the no's and all the people say, you know, the negative stuff, and like, you know, and a lot of times the ups with the downs. You have to have the downs with the ups, and that's how you figure out your own self and what's really important in life and what's really important in your career. And that's the thing. Like I could have stepped over a lot of people to get where I was going, and I would be a lot further, and I chose not to. And if I die, I'd rather die instead of being famous, which I've tasted a few times organically. I'd rather die respected as a well-known, not necessarily famous, but popular or well-known, respected artist. You know, that left a mark for my son, rather than to be like a one-hit wonder. or like, you know, famous with a bunch of stuff around them that is negative connotations. I wanted to be like a super like, hey, that guy was awesome. You know, respect the talent, respect the legacy, and be like, yeah, man, that remember that, you know, this song or that situation or that show, and that is more important to me, and to be able to make a living doing what I love. I don't need to be rich. I don't need to be, you know, like, you know, money falling out of my pockets and you know, not know what to do with it. I just want to be able to make a living doing what I love, which is what I'm close to doing now. Finally.
Opus, I hate to interrupt you, but we do respect you. And also respect the song that you gave us because we want to play the whole entire thing. So
yeah,
I want to give this last minute before we debut your song because I want you to debut, but to
sure,
obviously, just give your social media, promote yourself a little bit, then introduce the song on Behind the Brand. But Ease, I'm gonna let you go right ahead.
Okay.
Well, before we do that, we're about to. This is SOS. We're about to wrap up, and before we wrap up, I just wanted to thank you for coming on and sharing a little bit of your knowledge. And it's been a great interview. You're awesome.
Really quickly, if you guys want to know, and anyone wants to know more about me, in the next by the end of the year, I will have an autobiography coming out. It's called Break When I'm Dead, and it's co-written by Doug Espar, who co-wrote Chuck from Faith No More's book. And it's coming out amazing. It has almost my whole life history up until this point in it. The goods, the bad, the ugly. And then you can really read and know more about everything that I've been doing since the beginning of my career till now. Awesome. And about my family, so on and so forth. But I want to thank you guys again. My social media is very simple. You can go on Facebook. You can go on Instagram. You can go on what's the other one there? Twitter, and then is it not Twitch? Maybe
TikTok?
It's Twitch. Twitch, and all of them are under Opus the Dopest. What Chris Keys used to call me. All one word. OPUS the Dopest. DOPEST. And you can find me on all the social media sites, Opus the Dopest. And as far as YouTube, you can go. I did a lot of TV stuff in the past. I've been on a lot of reality shows, even a couple movies. You can find some of that stuff on my YouTube page. And that's a little different. That is Mr. Opus the Dopest Music. Mr. Opus the Dopest Music. And then Dead by Wednesday, my band, deadbywednesday.com. And the same for all that stuff. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, yada, yada. Under Dead by Wednesday. If you don't know how to spell Wednesday, look it up. WEDNESDAY. Dead by Wednesday, all one word. The only thing for Dead by Wednesday, the YouTube page is DBW TV. So DBW short for Dead by Wednesday TV. And besides that, everything else is up there. So
thank you.
SOS.
On
thank you guys.
LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Thank you, Opus.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Of Los Angeles, where these protests are gaining momentum. We're seeing just a standoff there between la familia de Atlanta, Georgia, renunció tras la muerte de un afroamericano a manos de policía, mientras la alcaldesa de la ciudad